All right, let's get right into it. Today we're tackling something I think a lot of us can relate to, the intelligence trap. It's this weird phenomenon where really smart, really curious people just get stuck. They're constantly learning, but they never seem to actually do anything with all that knowledge.
So, tell me if this sounds familiar. You find some amazing new software or a topic you just have to know everything about. You're super passionate, you download the program, maybe even buy a book, and then what happens? A week later, it's sitting on your desktop, completely ignored because you've already found something new and shiny to chase. Look, this isn't you failing or being lazy. It's actually a very specific psychological pattern, and that's what we're going to break down today.
And this pattern, it actually has a name. It's called the cycle of starting. It's this sneaky loop that makes you feel super productive, but when you look back, all you have is a long list of things you started but never finished. So let's take a closer look at how this whole cycle works.
Okay, so it all kicks off with that amazing feeling of discovery, right? You find some powerful new tool or a fascinating subject, you start playing with the basics, and you feel brilliant, you feel like you're making real progress. But then you hit that first real roadblock. Things get hard, it's not fun anymore. And what's the immediate impulse? Just drop it and find something new and exciting to start. And just like that, the loop begins all over again.
And here's the key thing to understand. There's a huge difference between sampling and practicing. Sampling is like being at a buffet. You try a little bit of everything, it feels like you're learning a ton, but you're not actually building deep skills. That only comes from practice, from the struggle and the repetition. Real mastery isn't built on 100 new beginnings, it's built on sticking with one thing.
So, what's really going on in our brains here? What's driving this cycle?
Well, it comes down to this really powerful idea called productive procrastination.
And once you get this, you'll have the key to breaking free.
Productive procrastination is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's when you spend, say, 5 hours learning a super complex new program, instead of spending 30 minutes updating your resume, the one thing you really need to do. Your brain is so clever. It makes you feel busy and smart, all while you're perfectly avoiding the one task that actually moves the needle, probably because that task is boring or scary. And this really gets to the why. Our brains are literally wired for this. We get a little hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical, every time we start something new and exciting. It loves big, visionary ideas. What does it hate? Boring, repetitive stuff. And it especially hates anything that comes with a risk of failure or rejection, like, applying for a job. Now, it's really important how we think about this. Someone on the outside might just see this as being lazy or flaky, but that's not what's happening. It's really more like potential without a plan. The intelligence is there, the drive is there, it just hasn't been focused. So this isn't some deep character flaw. It's a problem with your system, not with you. But, it goes even deeper than just our brain wanting a quick dopamine fix. If we dig down to the absolute core of this behavior, we often find a really powerful fear. And that's the fear of just being ordinary. Seriously, think about it. The moment you download that advanced engineering software, what happens? For a minute, you get to feel like a simulation engineer. When you start reading a dense paper on a new topic, you get to feel like a researcher. You're essentially trying on these cool, high-level identities. It lets you feel special right now without having to do the years of boring, grinding work it actually takes to become that person. And this quote just hits so hard because it reveals the real pain, doesn't it? The fear isn't about failing at one little task. It's this deep, aching fear of not living up to the amazing person you imagine you could be. It's a private grief over your own potential. I mean, this just says it all. You're in love with the idea of who you could become. But are you in love with the boring, frustrating, everyday work it takes to get there? Probably not. And that's the conflict, right there. You love the destination, but you hate the journey.
Okay, so what happens when this internal battle gets to be too much? Well, the mind does something pretty incredible to protect itself. It starts looking for someone or something else to blame. The focus shifts from what's wrong with me to what's wrong with the system.
And this usually starts with something that's probably true, right? You think, my education was terrible. It was all about memorizing facts, not actually learning. You feel like you were set up to fail from the start, that the whole foundation is cracked. Then the circle gets wider. It's not just your school anymore. Now it's society. It's the constant pressure to compare yourself on social media. It's your family's expectations weighing you down so much that you're just paralyzed. You're too scared to even try because what if you let them down?
And then you get to the final stage where the blame goes global. It's not just society, it's the system. It's this whole master-slave structure, and you're just a cog in the machine. And look, that can feel really deep and insightful, but what does it really do? It strips you of all your power. If nothing is your fault, then nothing is in your control either. Action becomes totally pointless.
Okay, so that's the trap. How in the world do you get out of it? The answer is not what you think. It's not about finding more motivation or watching another inspirational video. The answer is much simpler and maybe a little less sexy. It's structure. It's putting constraints on yourself.
And here's a super practical 3-step plan to do it. Step 1, pick one thing, just one, and you stick with it for 90 days. That's it, no switching. Step 2, get rid of all the other shiny objects. Uninstall the other programs, stop researching new hobbies, starve that addiction to novelty. And step 3, this is the big one. You have to act before you feel ready. Send that application, hit publish on the article, start. The whole idea of being ready is a myth. It's never gonna happen. So really, the entire game is about shifting your goal. You have to stop chasing that high of feeling ready or feeling special. The new goal is to just get comfortable with being bored, to embrace the slow, repetitive, totally unglamorous work, because that right there is where real skill, real mastery is forged. So I want to leave you with just one question. Let's forget about the system. Let's forget about what society thinks. Forget all that big stuff for just a second. What is one small thing that you've been putting off that is completely 100% in your control to do right now? Because that's it. That's where all your power is.